So good morning, everyone. Hope you and yours are safe and well. Let's talk some Torah. Today is the day before Purim, which is Taanit Esther, the day of the fast of Esther. And everywhere in the world, except Jerusalem, Purim begins tonight. In Jerusalem, because of a law that talks about walled cities during the time of Joshua, Purim actually begins tomorrow night. And so theoretically, not that I ever did this in college, you could have Purim 2 days in a row. So it is an important moment in the Jewish calendar. And why is today a fast? Because in the Megillah itself, in the scroll of Esther, is the story of the threat against the Jews, the threat of genocide against the Jews by the bad guy, whose name I won't say, because half of the mitzvah is to erase that name. So the bad guy's plan is to eradicate the Jews. And Esther is in a position of privilege and power. She's scared to use it because she hasn't been invited. There hasn't been the official invitation that came from the king. So she is afraid to step into the breach, even to defend her people. And that is one of the pivot points of the Megillah, of the scroll of Esther. At that point, Mordechai says to her, who knows? Mi odei im la'et kazot higat lamalchut. Who knows if it is precisely for this reason that you achieved this level of power, that you became queen. And that is a jolt to her system. And she calls upon the entire Jewish community in the kingdom of Persia, which is everywhere, to fast in solidarity with her, so that when she goes into the halls of power, she would go with her people. I use this because I am so moved by the words and the heart of my teacher and our dear friend, CEO of UJA, Eric Goldstein, whose language this last week, he always writes a beautiful and often urgently important message to the entire UJA community on Friday. You can find it on the Facebook page that you're on when we're done. He talked about what this moment demands of us for the sake of Israel's future, celebrating the birth of his granddaughter in Israel and the fight that will be an ongoing one. Because we always ached in the founding of the state, finally, a safe Jewish place, a place of cultural thriving, of religious revival for our people. We fought for that, but we knew, and David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, said this clearly, that the goal was to have a normal state, and a normal state would be when a Jewish criminal was brought before a Jewish judge in a Jewish city. Well, we've reached that. We are normal in that sense, but we are more than a plot of land. We are a nation. And when some of us are pushing in a direction that is destructive to the collective enterprise that we call the State of Israel, we are called to march. And hundreds of thousands of Israelis have marched, and many tens of thousands of Americans have shown up in solidarity too. And you might say to yourself, I don't want to criticize my homeland. I say that to myself often, because the lines between the inner conversation that we might have as Jews about our concerns and the way that we present as Jews in the world, it's a tricky thing. You know that from the Megillah, because Esther was advised by her uncle, Mordechai, don't tell them you're Jewish. Why? We don't know why. Maybe because she wouldn't have been chosen, latent anti-Semitism. Maybe because it would have put us at risk. Maybe we were afraid. Or maybe it was a strategy to say, we need to connect with power so that we can use it on behalf of both Jewish safety and world activism. The way that we can involve ourselves as Jews is, of course, bringing our unique Jewish voice to a universal effort. Esther was legitimately afraid. And you and I, given the threat of overruling, neutering the Supreme Court in Israel, and given the horrific violence, both the terrorism at Jewish Israelis and the terrorism of Jewish Israelis, that we have witnessed over the last few weeks, it is clear that the bad guy from Purim is what the rabbis always believed it was, an impulse within the human soul. We are called to face it, to name it and erase it, to work on that. And if you feel nervous about such a thing, you are far from alone. Our hero Esther was nervous too. And in the moment that she says to Mordechai, I don't know, I haven't been involved, I haven't been invited, I don't know if I can do this. Mordechai says, if not from you, it's going to come from somewhere else. But it's your turn now. So there are a few messages from that I would share. Number one is, you're not alone, friends. You're not alone, and we can accomplish this together. Only if we act as a people, as a community, will we be able to take the beautiful language and heart that Eric Goldstein placed in his incredible cry, his plea in Friday's message, the message that's coming from the Hartman Institute and philanthropists and Zionists around the world and hundreds of thousands of Israelis who are demonstrating with their feet what their hearts feel. Only when we act together, when we strengthen the ties that bind of our people, will we be able to do what Esther was able to do. She said, we are in this together. Show me we're in this together. So I'm going to say that to all of us, including myself. We have to show that we are in this together. The story of Purim is, yes, as Heather just wrote, a Chag Sameach. It is a happy message. But if you read the story of Purim, it is not a happy message. We respond, and we respond, and we respond. And that is how we save each other. And by each other, I mean our Jewish and our non-Jewish neighbors alike. But only by showing up with our authentic Jewish concerns can we marshal the energy of the Jewish people to do good for the world. We have to be strong, value-driven Jewish people in order to be fully present as people for the sake of everyone else. So of course I wish us a Chag Purim Sameach. It should be a night of nafochu, of turning things upside down. Where the world is worried, we should show up with joy and demonstrate that joy can be contagious too. Tomorrow, we'll talk about it again, a different angle on Purim. But today is Taanit Esther. Today is the day that we fast in solidarity with our people. We show with our bodies that we are connected. So I want to share with you this song that my daughter Ariel and I wrote years ago, which is based in this verse. Mi Anochi. Who am I to show up? Now, by the way, that wasn't Purim's question first. That wasn't Esther's question first. Mi Anochi ki elech is actually a question that Moses the prophet, Moshe Rabbeinu asked. When God said, you go, Moshe said, me? And Mi Yodea im Yashuv, who knows if God, you'll go with me, is what the prophet Jonah says. And when it's Esther's turn, she hears these words, Mi Yodea im la'et kazot higat. Who knows if it is for this moment itself that you arrived? So friends, we have arrived. Why? What can we do with this moment? Let's channel some Purim energy as we stand in solidarity with our people all around the world today.
Anochi ki elech mi yodea im yashuv mi yodea im yashuv mi yodea im lo'et kazot higat la
Chag Purim Sameach, friends. See you tomorrow.